Okay, here we are, John Cruz with the Sunline recap from the St. Johns River down there. Started off the year in Florida. It was warm, it was beautiful, everything should have been great, but my tournament finish was not. My practice was awful. Normally, I like the St. Johns River. I do. My name is John. It's St. John's. It should be cool, right? I've had some good finishes down there the last few years, but this year was not so. The first 2 days in practice, man, I really was struggling. The third day of practice, I found some areas that had a lot of bedding fish in them, down on the southern end of the area that we fish, and in that area is where I ended up fishing the first day of the tournament. First day of the tournament, we had a fog delay for about 3 hours. And if you're running almost an hour to where you're gonna start fishing, it makes your day even shorter. So I ran down there and was just kind of a grind. Ended up catching 3 keepers that day. 2 of the keepers I caught, including a 613 that I boat flipped on live camera, which is pretty cool. Was on a Missile Baits Baby D-Bomb, and this is a white, pearl white one. We're gonna have a special run of these coming out this spring of 2021. So keep an eye out for those. We're gonna have the full size and the baby. But it was a pearl white Baby D-Bomb, 3/0 Gamakatsu heavy cover worm hook, 5/16 tungsten weight. I had a little bobber stop on there, and then I had 20-pound Sunline shooter. That is the deal right there. That's what I boat flipped that, basically a 7-pounder with. I had that on a 7'6" Cashin Icon rod. Really like that, and it had a high speed. This was the 8-to-1 gear ratio Daiwa Tatula reel. That's just a great bed fishing setup. That smaller bait, the Baby D-Bomb is really hard to beat on bedding fish. It doesn't have to be pearl white. It was just nice in Florida because that water is real dark, real black. That pearl white really pops, and I can see exactly where my bait is. That's the main reason I liked the white one. But like I said, I caught 2 keepers on that, and then one of the other keepers that I caught was on it wasn't doing anything. The Baby Destroyer or Baby D-Bomb wasn't doing anything for him. So I did the Green Pumpkin Flash full-size destroyer, Missile Baits destroyer, and I had a 5/0 Gamakatsu heavy cover worm hook there, 3/8 ounce tungsten weight bobber stop, and then I had that on 25-pound Sunline shooter. Just absolutely put the wood to that 3.25 pounder that was on a bed that wouldn't respond to that smaller bait. I even threw a drop shot on it, didn't do anything. Had that on a 7'6" Cashin Elite series rod. 7.6 heavy action, had an 8-to-1 gear ratio Daiwa Tatula 100. That's a slick little setup. Love that. I ended up catching a couple keepers on this setup, just pitching into lily pads the second day. But the second day I was really mixing it up. I only ended up with an 8-pound limit the second day. Ended up in 61st place. Very frustrating. I caught probably 8 or 9 keepers that second day. One of the keepers I caught was on that white Baby D-Bomb. A couple of the keepers I caught were on the Missile Baits Destroyer, and I think I caught 1 keeper on the Missile Baits 48 in June bug. Threw that on a spinning rod. That's the June bug right there, June bug 48. And I had that on a 7-foot, 3-inch medium action Cashin Elite Series rod, Daiwa Tatula reel, and 12-pound Sunline X Plasma was the line. That is, and then on the 48, I had a leader of 10-pound Sunline Sniper, and that's kind of how I like to do it, about a 20-foot leader. And then I had the Gamakatsu G Finesse Stinger, weedless stinger in the number 1 size. That is perfect for wacky rigging on that 48. Like I said, I caught 2 keepers on that, and then I actually caught 2 keepers on this guy here, which is just a regular old black Zoom trick worm. These fish were, the fish I caught on these were real shallow, less than a foot of water, and the water was clear, so I wanted that bait to stay really high in the water column. That's why I was throwing that trick worm, but I went with straight braid there. That same braid, it's that green color, so I just colored up the first few feet of that, and that was the same rod that I was throwing the 48 with. But that was kind of what did my damage for me on the second day. But like I said, had one fish over 2 pounds, everything else was under 2 pounds. Very frustrating to you know, catch some fish and just not have anything work out for me. So 61st place finish. Could have been worse, but it could have been a lot better, especially knowing the areas that I fished were the right areas. They were good areas. Just didn't work out for me this year. So we're going to be on to the next one. I've got less than a week to get unpacked and repacked for the next tournament, and we'll bring you a much more positive and fun recap talking about all kinds of fish catches on the next one. So stay tuned.